If you recently went no contact with a narcissist and you've been freaking the out, feeling like your entire life is over, feeling like you can't go on without them, feeling like you miss them so much, feeling guilty for going no contact, feeling like you want to say it and risk everything and reach out to them, this video is for you. Y'all hear me out. The entire relationship, for however long you were in it, revolved around trying to activate the good side of them, trying to get back to the good part, trying to get back to the high part of the cycle, trying to get the next dopamine hit, trying to be back on good terms with them, trying to make sure you don't them off, trying to make sure that you don't lose them. Because over time, they gaslit and conditioned you to believe the exact opposite of reality, the exact opposite of what's true, like it's opposite day. Because in reality, inside of them, there's nobody home. It's a void. They're nothing. And you are everything. And they, over the course of the relationship, conditioned you to switch roles with them and believe that you were nothing and they were everything. They brainwashed you to just have tunnel vision, like I can't lose them, they're everything, I'll never find anyone else like them. And so you just have this nonstop narrative playing on repeat, these stories over and over in your head that aren't even based in reality, because everything revolved around getting back to the good part, the whole relationship. And that required you to learn how to filter information in a way where you threw out the things that didn't align with getting back to the good part and clung to the things that aligned with it. You were conditioned and learned how to minimize and justify the abuse so that you didn't believe that it was actually as bad as it was, so that you could put your focus on getting back to the good part. That allowed you to brush things under the rug and a lot of times move on like nothing happened, because getting back to the good part was the focus. And once you're there, anything that happened right before that didn't matter anymore, because you've already reached your goal of being back on good terms with them, which your whole life revolved around. Oh, do you hear how insane that sounds? To be in a position where your entire life revolves around whether or not you are on good terms with another human being. And if you're not, then you feel like you can't function. Imagine how many things you filtered out over the course of that relationship just to get back to the good part. Imagine how many things you swept under the rug just to get back to the good part. Imagine how many times you moved on like nothing happened just to get back to the good part. I always recommend making a list of all up shit that happened. But even when you sit there and do that, there are still parts of that experience and that relationship that you won't even remember, because your brain got so good at just filing it away so you could focus on getting back to the good part. And with all of that chaos running in your mind 24/7, living in anxiety, being worried every single day and stressed the out, hoping that it's going to be a good day, hoping that you're on good terms with them, you become very distracted from life as a whole and anything outside of that story that they are everything and that you need them. So distracted and so much in survival mode that you don't even have a second to sit still and think logically enough to realize, why the do I need them? What are they actually doing for me? What value are they adding to my life? So then when you finally got out of the relationship, however that ended up happening, and you went no contact, your brain is still in that same mode that it was in the entire relationship, filtering out up things, filtering out information that doesn't align with the good version of them, filtering out information that doesn't align with trying to get back to the good part. Maybe even drifting into the mode where you're ready to say it and just move on like nothing happened again, because that's what you were used to doing. Those same stories on repeat in your head. I can't live without them. I can't function without them. I miss them so much. They were the best. I'll never find anyone like them. Without slowing down to even think about those stories and realize that they're not based in reality. You were conditioned to see life without them as a dark, impossible place. So y'all, I suggest just slowing down for a second. When those same stories are coming up, I need you to challenge them. I need you to push towards the logic. I need you to focus on the facts, because shattering those stories and pushing yourself back into being in touch with reality and being grounded in reality and the pain that comes along with that is exactly what's going to make you finally say, that, I don't even want that anymore. And it takes intentionality, especially the story that is trying to convince you that life is just so bleak without them. You're used to filtering out the information that tells you that life actually might feel good without them. So start being intentional about noticing the things that do feel good without them, instead of immediately going to this place of like, I can't live without them. What does feel better that you notice? Because you've got to start retraining your brain to see things through the reality lens and not through their distorted reality lens. Retraining your brain to think on its own again instead of relying on these thoughts and stories that were implanted. Retraining your brain to no longer focus on trying to get back to the good part and focusing on being present and the things around you and things in your everyday life that make you feel good for even just a second. Retraining your brain to see that they weren't everything. You were everything. Retraining your brain to see that they were the one who was nothing. So tomorrow's a new day and it's another day down for no contact. And if you feel yourself panicking and spiraling, going into that automated story time in your head, I want you to just interrupt it and say, what feels better without them? If you've already noticed something that does feel better without them, tell me in the comments.